Welcome back. Okay, so been a bit quiet recently on the video front, but that's because I've been buying huge amounts of stuff. I've gone headlong into the Vertigo Swirl route to financial ruin. That's going to be another video in itself, really, to see where I'm at. But I've picked up of the 90 odd. I think it's 93 or 94, I can't remember exactly, of the original Vertigo Swirl. I think I'm up to about 24, 25 in a fairly short space of time, so kind of need to rein it in. I'm going to try and sort of limit to one a month. We'll see. I did get a book though, a couple of books actually, which I would like to share before this one. It's all about the Vertigo Swirl label, as it says there. It was updated, expanded. It critically analyses and I would say completely destroys most of the albums on here. It hasn't really got a good word to say about anything. I think some of the stuff on that label is really, really, really good. There is some crap, but all collectible stuff. But it gives you it's an encyclopedic kind of overview on the label. So for me, getting into the label properly for the first time recently, this has been great. Amazon, I think, 20 odd quid, something like that, not sure. And another one I got, which was, and I don't remember, and I'll have to apologise to the chap whose channel I watched. It was about Talk, a band I really love, and he was talking about the album Laughing Stock, and then there's one about Spirit of Eden, both staggeringly good albums. Nothing like the stuff before, so if you just know the singles, then you might be slightly disappointed. But the guy who was the engineer and mixed the albums was a guy called Phil Brown. So I can only apologise to this gentleman who did these videos. If I can find them, I'll pop a link at the bottom of this. And it's Phil Brown. This is called Are We Still Rolling? And he basically chronologically goes through all the people he's worked with. You've got Bob Marley, Pink Floyd briefly. Talk features quite heavily. Shakin' Stevens is in there. John Martin. You name it. From being like a junior engineer right through to now, really. Great. It's really good. You don't have to read it all in one hit either. You could just sort of have a little pick through and maybe decide which chapter you want to read about which particular artist and his experience with them. Quite a lot of excess in the 70s, which is very much chronicled here. So another really cool book that I picked up. Anyway, so what have I been buying? Let's go. I'll try and whiz through them just to keep you up to date on where I'm at. John Cale, Troubadour. I picked up a few John Cale albums. I just buy them when I see them without actually, because they're not expensive at all. That one as well. I think that's late 70s, early 80s. That's one of his earlier ones, Troubadour. And then I got his debut as well, which is called Naturally, I think, which is probably the one that most people would recognise. It's got Call Me the Breeze, Call the Doctor. I think After Midnight's on here, which is great. So they're not expensive at all. So any original pressings or just reissues, they don't cost a lot. You could get them for a tenner or 15 quid. You've got yourself a John Cale album. A great artist. Look, I loved his vocal delivery. His guitar playing is fantastic. Which leads me very conveniently to. I must just excuse me for diving down here because I've not planned this. I'm just going from the hip to someone who very clearly, and I didn't realise at the time until more recently, quite like J.J. Cale. And the first album, it sounds like a J.J. Cale album, I think. Dire Straits. Now, don't at me. Don't leave comments and hurl abuse at me, please. There's a reason for this. So my first ever gig was Dire Straits. So I'm not trying to be cool. I could make up loads of really amazing artists who I have seen say they were the first ones. They're not. on every street tour. It's the last tour they did. I was at school. I was 15, I think I was. So 91, 92, something like that. And they played Main Road in Manchester, and I was absolutely blown away. It's my first gig ever. I was a bit of a sort of a soul adventurist troubadour back in the day. So I sort of just, if I felt like I was going to do it, I didn't need a group of people to go. I just got on my own. I went on my own, which was quite daunting for a 15-year-old, a big crowd. And it was staggeringly good. Now, obviously, within a couple of years, I'd sort of grown out of Dire Straits and, realised they really were quite uncool. And it's not, it's off away into different realms. But this album, which I didn't mind at the time, actually, I'd say the first 4 albums are all really, really good. Really good. I think the production on them is excellent as well. Again, they're not going to cost you a lot of money. So this one, Communique, Making Movies, Love Over Gold, which has got Telegraph Road on it, which is what a song. After that, I'm less bothered. That's when they were, they were enormous. And kind of not too fussed, but first 4 are brilliant. Now I'm older and don't care. I'm happy to say that I still quite like Dire Straits. So it goes to show, doesn't it? This one is on. It's a very small label called Feral Child. Now, Heavy Axe is the artist. I know nothing about. But it's sort of ambient krautrock. Feral Child is Dom, pal of mine who lives in London. He had a label called the Great Pop Supplement. Deep Distance, Polytechnic Youth, which was more electronic. Got a bit of a boutique label in a way. Does a lot of lathe cut limited edition stuff, but then these you should only be 300 pressed, I'm sure, or something like that. All tends to sell out. This is fantastic. A really good album. I think he's wrapping up this year. I think he's at it a long time. He's at Earworm Records before Great Pop Supplement, so going a while. He's got a very good taste in music. That's what I will say. And the artist he gets on, they're just great. This is just another example of that. So that's I've had that couple of weeks. I've not listened properly, but I've listened to quite bits and pieces, and it is right up my street. So I'm looking forward to getting right into that. Talking krautrock, Can released a load of This Is Live in Kiel. They released about 5, I think, albums from around this period, which essentially are just complete jams. They're not songs. They just turned up. I didn't know they did this, but they just turned up and approached it probably how they wrote songs. And they just plugged in and played. Now, there might be an element of a song. You might recognise something within a song you might like within the back catalogue, but it doesn't ever become that. It just ends up going somewhere else. Quite staggering. And on each of the albums, someone else is the star of the show. So I haven't heard this one yet. I'm going to sit and listen to it in due course and see who steals the show. The ones that they've been releasing, I think there's one with Damo Suzuki, but all the others are just basically when they were when he'd left and when they were down to just the core 4, and I think they added another musician as well. I'm right in saying Roscoe G, who's on this. So I'll report back on this, but it'll be good. It's what type of good, because it could be anything. It depends what kind of night it was, but yeah, right up my street that. Next, Idlewild. I've only heard the singles that have been on social media and so on, and they sounded all right. I could have gone to see them. I didn't. I've seen them a few times, and I didn't really have the energy to go. A bit like that with gigs sometimes at the moment. But I'll be getting involved because they're consistently good. I think it's right good songs. There's just a good band. I don't think they're not reinventing the wheel in any way, shape, or form, but they're just a good band. And as they get older, they continue to write good stuff. So. Again, I might have to report back on this, but the stuff I've heard that's been released to promote the album is pretty good. So that's this one. Right. I went into Skeleton Records in Birkenhead, which is a treasure trove. Really is. You could. God, blimey, you could be in there for hours upon hours. It's just jam packed with stuff. like anything, like any sort of second-hand record shop, there's a lot of the CDs, DVD, Blu-ray, cassettes. It's all there. There's plenty of rubbish, but there's some good stuff. Anyway, I bought a few bits and pieces, and something was playing, and the lad who I think he's the owner now. I've got a feeling that the guy who owned it, who worked there for years, passed away fairly recently-ish. This could be his son. I'm not sure. Very knowledgeable chap. Playing something I really like the sound of. It sounded a bit like the Beach Boys, the Kinks. Like another Baroque kind of chamber pop with a bit of psychedelia in there, and there's that kind of Phil Spector sound going on as well. And it was this. Now this wasn't it. I just bought this based upon what he said because I made a quick note. Billy Nichols, Would You Believe? And apparently a bit of a lost classic. It was supposed to be. They reckoned, I think at the time, the lad told me behind the counter that they had high hopes for this. Let's have a little look. John Paul Jones appears to be involved here somewhere. I haven't done enough research on this, so but oh my word, the songs, it's melodic, it's tuneful, but it's kind of like a bit of quite that kind of wall of sound, Phil Spector sound, with that reverby kind of thing going on, which sounds great. It's not too much, but every song is really, really strong. I was delighted because every time you go into a shop and come out with something you really didn't expect. Now, I didn't come out with it, but I came out with the knowledge, and I've since bought it. It wasn't overly expensive. This is one of the latter reissues. The original goes for about $3,000, so possibly a reissue may be your best bet. But yeah, this is great. This one came out on BMG. It's just standard black vinyl. There is Castle brought it out prior. I always find their pressings sound very digitized, so I avoided that, but they've done like a deluxe one where they've added loads of demos and stuff. I just had to stick with this sounds great. So Billy Nichols, if you've not heard. Gene Clark, so I think this is the yeah, this is from the No Other session. So No Other is a classic. He's in the Byrds, as I'm sure you're aware. An absolute genius. No Other is a great album. This is just from the session, so it's just all of the same. It's all good. Not as good as the album because they would have been on the album otherwise, but it's good. Interesting fact: I was at End of Road Festival. Don't remember what year it was. Probably 7 years maybe now. And it was the No Other band, and it included different singers for different songs, and they basically played No Other. Robin Pecknold from Fleet Foxes, he definitely was there for 3 or 4 songs. I'll have to go back and see who else was in, but there was a few decent names in there, and that was an amazing show, and that introduced me to the album. And I went then back and listened to the album and thought, oh my god, I missed this. No, again, another lost classic. Don't think he did a great deal at the time. He's doing plenty now. This is the sessions, so all good stuff. Okay, flicking through Neil Young. This is the reissue of Tonight's the Night classic. If you know me, I'm a Neil Young buff. He's just cancelled Europe tour. I had a VIP for Manchester, couldn't wait. He says it's not the right time. Now I reckon he's 82, 83, and I'm thinking he can't be saying that for long. This needs to be the time. Now I've seen him before, but I wouldn't mind seeing him. He needs once more. So I was a bit gutted with that. However, this is a classic. Not as good, in my opinion, as On the Beach. Not as good as Zuma. So of all that classic sort of 70 to sort of 77 period, this is for me, and this might be controversial, it's the weakest, but it's still brilliant. But there's some extra songs on this one as well. So I don't know if it's remastered or not, but it's Tonight's the Night 50. Basically, so if you don't know the deal with this one, I think they just all got absolutely smashed and went and recorded some stuff over the course of like 24, 48 hours, and this is what happened. So it's ragged, but there is some genius stuff on there. What else have you got? I haven't heard this one yet. It's the OCs. This is a dinked version of the latest album. I'm finding it hard work listening to them at the moment because I don't think they're anywhere near as good on record as they are live. So their albums are patchy for me at the minute. There is some classic OC's albums, there's no question. But the latter stuff has just been firing stuff out with no filter, and I've not got to this yet, so it's not the energy. You've got to strap yourself in a little bit. As John Dwyer says during the course of a gig, where the OCs dig in. You do need to dig in, and I'm not ready to dig in yet, so I'll again report back on this, but I've got it anyway. Now, I do enjoy, again, a more recent Zamrock. Big fan of Zamrock. So, Amanaz, Africa. That's the reissue with the reverb mix. Aside C and D is basically the album mixed with loads of reverb, which I'm probably going to quite enjoy. That's Ngozi Family. All this, I wouldn't even bother getting the originals. If you get a copy, it's going to cost you, and it's going to be beaten up. It's going to be messed up. If you find a pristine copy, you've done really well. So I just get the reissues. The issues come out, they're pretty sound great, and this stuff is brilliant. I mean, they were recorded brilliantly, just I think with the facilities they had and cash at their disposal. It's quite primitive, but it sounds amazing. Sort of psychedelic, sort of African world fusion rock type stuff, brilliant, just amazing. There's so much of this. Witch is another band. Salty Dog, another great band. There's loads, but it's an area I hadn't paid much attention to. I've got a few other things from other African sort of nations. I'll have to dig some more stuff out, but yeah, this is all good stuff anyway. So there's that. We'll get to the end now. This is often the Two Peers label. That they've been doing compilations for the last 4 years or so, and they've just been amazing. They hit the mark every time. This is Steve Mason, who's sort of basically curated the whole thing called The Romance of Unknowing. It is amazing. Alas, I went to add this to Disco. This arrived today. I went to add this to Discogs. I bought this from Juno Records, who are great. You buy anything online, and it's with you within a day or two. They're so fast. And this rocked up a bit too quick for them, unfortunately, because it just popped up on Discogs. Went to add it, and it said mispressed. A and B plays as C and D. Unfortunately, C and D plays in C and D as well. So basically, you get 2 C's and 2 D's. A and B ain't here. Now the label are aware it was a mispress, and they're going to send them all out. Juno Records had no idea when I rung them, but they said they'll send something out. Hope so. I listened to it on that evil streaming service just to get a feel for it only a few hours ago. It's brilliant. Signed as well, the back there. It's cool. There's some classics on here. Let me grab it. Let me dig it out for you. Anything that involves Glass of Champagne by Sailor, you know you're in for a party album. It's brilliant. If you know the Beta Band, this is Steve Mason, the Beta Band. If you know them, you'll know that, and you know his solo stuff. He has a real good sense of melody in anything he does, but it's always a little off kilter as well. The Beta Band were very much. I saw them back in the day, right at the beginning, and they were like wacky but great fun. His solo stuff's a bit more, I would say, slightly more mainstream, but still, you know, had an element of misguided avenues where he would travel down, which I think are always all the better for. This has got some amazing stuff on here. Roland Bouquet, Alice Swoboda, Mary Love, Stoney and Meatloaf, Bobby Con, a bit of punk on here, The Snivelling Shits, great name for a band. Then the aforementioned Sailor. Dennis Roussos is on here, Staple Singers. So to give you an idea what it sounds like, there's loads. To give you an idea, it starts quite Northern Soul, up-tempo. Northern Soul's got 2 parts, so it's got like the melodic, the really high energy up-tempo stuff, and then the ballads. It's not the ballads. Then it's quite funky as well. I think it's very danceable. It's the sort of thing on a Saturday night when you might be with your partner and just chilling out, and you've got a glass of wine, and you just feel like just breaking loose like you used to back in the day. This album would do the trick. As you flip onto side C and D, it gets a bit more dance orientated without being out and out dance. There's a little bit of rap in there as well. really does cover so many genres, and it's all the better for it. It's a fantastic album. There are a number of compilations. I've got so many. I've got them all, I think, bar one. And we could maybe have a little conversation in the future about them if you wish to know a bit more. Two Peers is the label. Put that away in a bit. Right, nearly there. So Popol Vuh, German, not really it's krautrock, but it's not krautrock. I just picked this is one I didn't realise I didn't have. It sounds like all the other Popol Vuh albums from the 70s, really. It's quite ambient, very soundtracky. A lot of the stuff they did was basically for soundtracks. Quite a lot of wind instruments, plenty of flutes, or an instrument that may sound like a flute. I'm not totally fair on all that. A lot of the guitar might be a 12-string acoustic on there. There's quite a few strings, but great. All their albums are really, really good. The early stuff's quite abstract, but then it gets really, really focused, and it's great stuff. So I don't listen to them over and over, but every now and again I just put one on, and I never know which one. I just sort of go towards where Popol Vuh is and pick one, and I never fail to be impressed. So this is going on later, actually. So I'm looking forward to putting that on. Of Neil Young, this is A Letter Home. Came back quite a long time ago. So when he just sat in that sort of phone booth, and Jack White recorded him on Third Man Records or something. I don't think it's that much to write home about. Excuse me. But I was missing it anyway. Last two. Now this one, I was watching Norman Maslov's channel, and he was talking about, I'm going to say it was 71. And all the Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young all released solo albums that year, and they're all brilliant. This isn't one of them, but this came almost immediately after. Stephen Stills, Manassas. It's great. Chris Hillman's on here. It's a great album. Al Perkins. It's a fair lineup. It sounds, but I think it's brilliantly recorded. I think the production's fantastic. It's just that perfect. It's the perfect 70s sound. I'm chasing this 70s analog sound rather than this more current almost digitized, because it probably is digitized. So the songwriting on this is fantastic. Harmonies are great. It's just a very, very good 70s album. There's some up-tempo stuff, a bit rocking, some pretty chill stuff. It's just great. There's loads of tunes. I think it's a double. Yeah, there's loads of songs on it. So this kind of period, 70 to 75 for these artists, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young, I think is all pretty good stuff. So would recommend that. Last one. Let's have a quick swig of this. One sec. Excuse me. Right. I went to a gig recently. Took my 11-year-old. The band I first saw in '96 in a tiny Manchester Roadhouse, and they were just about to release a song called Tapva, and then it all blew up, and they got quite big. They sold best part of, I think worldwide they sold over 1 million records of their debut album, which is Cooler Shaker. Second album wasn't as good at the time, but listening back, actually, I think it's possibly a better album. I went to see him a few times, and then by 1999, due to a probably quite ill-judged interview or response to a question about the Nazi emblem, Crispian Mills kind of like signed a band's sort of death warrant, really. And they disappeared, and then I sort of lost interest. You move on, don't you? So, but then they came up. I think it was on YouTube, and it came up, and I just remembered. I was like, oh, that's interesting. So I still had some of that stuff, but in the cellar. A lot of it just rotted. It's just CDs that just rotted away. But K was there. I put K on, and what a good album still. So it's good that when you go back to that period and you think it's still good, it's essentially a psychedelic rock album. They're a psychedelic rock band. So if you like the stuff that's on like those Nuggets compilations, don't tell me you don't think that Cooler Shaker are good, because Cooler Shaker sound like they should be on those Nuggets compilations, or they've at least listened to a lot of it, and they're just great. So I've gone to the back catalogues since they've come back in 2000. 2000 and, I want to say 6 or 7, and they've been consistently brilliant. So I saw them before Christmas doing a little warm-up tour for the album, which is Wormslayer, and it is brilliant. There's not a bad song on this album. It's so solid. So me and my 11-year-old went to watch them, and he had the time of his life, and they played brilliantly, and it was great. And again, I'm in that I don't really care that people think it's a bit uncool. What is cool, what's uncool? Did I enjoy it? Yeah, I certainly did. Will I watch them again? Definitely. Am I going to give this another spin soon? Certainly will. There's a song on here called Wormslayer itself, which is absolutely brilliant. Rocks. The Wing Boy sounds like it could be on Animals by Pink Floyd. Lucky Number, Good Money, Charge Light Brigade, and Brokers Folk, which is 4 of the first 5. They opened the current sets with them, and they're just great. Be Merciful is brilliant. I mean, it's just a really good. It's not a bad song on it. It's great. The artwork's fantastic. So I'm just really pleased to have gone back to something I used to enjoy and realise I was probably right in the first place. They are quite a good band. So there you go. Yeah, that's where we're at. Personally speaking, we've got the band. So just a bit of confusion maybe. People, when they put comments, call me Hazel. Well, the band I'm in is called Hazel's Maze. This channel was already set up with that, but we don't use it. But I couldn't bother setting anything else up. So I'm Dave. I'm in Hazel's Maze. But I'm not going to use this channel for the band as such. It's not really much point. But we've got a new single coming out on Rare Vitamin Records, which is a 3-track, 4-track if you buy it off Bandcamp. Get a bonus tune. And we've got a week today. This is Friday. So Friday the 13th, we're playing locally in Northwich in Cheshire in the record store, which is called the Dog House, which is above the Salty Dog pub and music venue. We're doing a stripped back set where we're going to play quite a few tunes for half an hour. Record's going to be on sale, maybe a few t-shirts, and then it'll be on Bandcamp on the Monday after, for those who don't make the gig, obviously, because you might be miles away. But that's been exciting. I've been enjoying that, getting back at it. So yeah, like I say, I'm not going to use the channel for that, but if anything interesting is happening, I'll just mention it in passing. Next one I'm going to do, I think, might be the Vertigo Swirl update on where we're at. I think there's a lot of interest in that, so we'll go with that. And then I'm hoping if my new record keeps coming, we'll do the room tour. So yeah, anyway, thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you like the content. Anything you want to comment about, if anything you think I might like, I'm all for that. There's no way you can't listen to stuff these days, can you? So if someone says something, have you heard these? Well, just give me a minute and I'll have a listen and download it and see what's what. But yeah, thanks for coming back, and catch you soon.